Hello everyone, it's Leo, and it's time to talk about episode 32 from Star Twinkle Precure. I think this episode sets the tone for the rest of the season, and it tells the viewers and the girls what they have to do until the end. So now we have another goal, another thing they have to collect, and we don't really know what it is. Also, this episode gave a little bit of insight on who the villains are and why they became who they are nowadays. And it gives us a little more into darkness as well. Just a little. I really want to see more. So this episode started with a great scene with Hikaru and the princesses, actually all of the girls and the princesses, but Hikaru was like the biggest star of the scene because the girls told them that Fua got a new power, but she still isn't ready. What that means, we don't really know, but we can guess that Fua really maybe has another form, or she can get even more powerful than she is nowadays, because her power is not complete, and without that, the stars in the universe will not be safe. So I have a little problem with that, because since the start of the show, we've been promised that if they get every single pen and they revive the princesses, everything's fine, everything's okay, and that's it. Obviously, they finished collecting the pens before the series is over, so we need something else. But I think that they could have hinted that there was something more than just getting the pens and that was it, you know? So because one thing is, like, they thought that it was going to be enough and then they discovered that it wouldn't. But it seems that the princesses already knew that it wasn't going to be the last goal. You know, if they had researched and had thought of something new for them to get, but no, it seems that they knew. And the fact that Darkness also knows that they need to collect Twinkle Imagination proves the fact that they knew, even the villain knew, that just reviving the princesses wasn't the last goal. And obviously, we the viewers, we knew that as well, but I feel like the show forgot to give us some hints and to actually show us that collecting all of the pens wasn't the last goal of the season. And as I said, I do understand that it's not the last goal because we still have time, but inside the plot of the show, it felt like last minute thought, just like Mahotsukai. But I think that, well, in this case, it's better. It's done in a better way than Mahotsukai, but Mahotsukai also did this. Smile also did this. But anyway, Hikaru had like a great scene at the start with the princesses, because the princesses, I think the Taurus princess said Fua isn't ready yet, and Hikaru just imagined a big horse Fua, and the voice Fua had, like, Fua, when she was a big horse was the best. And the girls' faces when Hikaru did that, gold. Gold, gold, gold. I loved it. And then when the girls got back to Earth, another interesting thing about this episode, everything happened in a very short span of time, because when they got to Earth, Fua now is a different Fua, and she can communicate better, and the princesses told the girls that they need to feed her, and they need to, you know, to make Fua stronger, and so everyone started feeding her. And I think the best thing about that scene was the fact that Uni stood by herself, and she was just, you know, gathering everything inside her, because she had, like, from all of the girls, she was the one that was most invested in collecting the pens for a personal reason. You know, the girls did that because it was their mission, it was because they wanted to protect the world, it was because they liked doing it, but Uni, she has a bigger reason than the other four. And so she quickly understood that everything they did wasn't enough to revive her planet. And so she was just, you know, having a moment for herself. She was thinking about things while the girls were feeding Fua. And that's a great thing. That's the thing I'm really liking about her, because I really enjoy the fact that she is still a lone wolf inside the group. She's not always with the girls. She's with them, but she's on her own for the most part, and the girls respect that. The girls understand that about her, and they don't, you know, put this pressure on Uni to be with them all the time and to be with the group all the time. And then we also saw a little bit more of the villains. As I said, we saw the place that they stay in, and it's interesting because I thought it was just a wasteland, but we saw a shot that kind of looks like a city, and that's an interesting thing as well. And we saw Gauruga. I don't know if he's called Gauruga or Garuga, but I'm gonna call him Gauruga because that's the name that's on my mind. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. So we saw Gauruga talking to Darkness, and we can see Darkness clearer now. You know, he's just sitting there. He's just not an image, or he's not sealed like he was before. So he's just sitting there talking to the villains, and Kapard wanted to be part of it, but Gauruga said, no, I am the one going. Or Darkness said that Gauruga should go. I don't remember. I think Darkness said, and he gave him that bracelet again. He powered up that bracelet again, and so Gauruga went on to battle the girls. And another funny thing, you know, he got Fua in his hands, and then he just threw Fua to the girls because he didn't know Fua changed, and the girls' reaction was the best. I love those dorky moments between, you know, the girls, the main characters, and the badass villains. And so when the battle started, I liked this battle because we didn't have much stock footage. It was interesting. I really like when Precure does that. We had only one stock footage attack, which was from Cursar that started the fight, and then the girls fought him their own way. I really liked it. So interesting. And you know, the animation was not the best animation ever, but it was interesting nonetheless. And not only the fight was interesting, but I feel like the whole philosophy and discussion that they had was also very interesting. So in this fight, the girls had set in their minds that they needed to protect Fua. And this protection talk already triggered something in Gauruga in the last episode, and now in this episode it triggered it again because Gauruga felt what he was not hiding, but what drove him to become who he is nowadays. Gauruga saw his planet being destroyed, and he couldn't do anything. He didn't have the power to protect his planet. And then everything became a wasteland, and he stayed near his planet. That's where other people that had their planets destroyed stayed as well. That's where he met Kapard and Tenjo. And so the three of them met Darkness that appeared out of nowhere. And he promised those three that he would give them power if they worked together with him. And so I really liked this part because it felt believable, and it felt that it's a good reason for someone to be in the same league with Darkness. And I felt like it was a believable part of the argument of becoming a villain. Because Gauruga, for me, he doesn't feel like a villain at all. He feels like more of a tragic person, and he's just fighting because that's what he can do right now with the power that was given to him, and he obeys Darkness out of fear, maybe out of respect. We don't really know yet, but I don't sense villainous in him like I sense in Kapard and Tenjo, for example, even though they're not as strong or as scary. And so I really like Gauruga. I'm really liking him as a villain, even though his design doesn't do it for me. I think that he is an interesting person. I think that he brings a lot to Star Twinkle. And so in the fight, they were all debating whether or not they fought and the reason that they fought. And the girls all stated their reasons for becoming cures while they fought him, and why they chose to fight alongside Fua, and why they chose to protect her. But the biggest point of everything was against Cure Cosmo. Cure Cosmo is someone who kind of followed the same route as Gauruga. Obviously, she didn't become a villain, but she was doing things to try to restore her planet. And the thing about that scene was very interesting because it shows how you can choose different routes depending on what happens to you in life And obviously it depends on the circumstances, but in that case, Cure Cosmo chose a different route and she ended up on the other side than Gaoruga is nowadays, even though their stories are very similar. But the fact that she wasn't approached by darkness at a dark time, you know, shows that their destinies were different anyways. But I really liked that moment between them because, you know, Gaoruga actually acknowledged that Cosmo was a part of them as Bakinyan and as the Blue Cat, the chief, the space thief. So that was also another interesting take. And the girls, they held their own with their own motivations, with their own wills, with their own thoughts. They decided they needed to fight. And so they gave Darkness a run for his money. And when Gaoruga, not Darkness, they gave Gaoruga a run for his money. And then Fua got together with the girls, and the girls used a new power, the Star Twinkle Imagination. It's called. I reacted to it, so I think I have said a lot about this attack. If you haven't seen it, it's here on the channel, and I really liked it. I thought it was very nice, very powerful, and it felt amazing. You know, I really enjoyed that moment, and I just want to see their costumes clearer. You know, I really want to see them clearer because we can't really see like full body shots in the attack itself, and I really like those powered up forms. And then they were able to defeat Gaoruga, you know, they won the battle, and Darkness appeared. And an interesting thing, we finally see what Darkness is after. Why? We don't know. But he's after Fua. He wants Fua as a vessel. Why? As I said, and I'm kind of scared because Darkness seems very powerful, and he's going after Fua. I mean, they're after Fua since the start, but now they're probably going to get the Darkness power, so they're probably becoming stronger. One thing I want to say is that I really hope we see more of Capard's and Tenjo's story, because I feel like they can be very compelling and interesting, as much as Gaoruga's story was. And I hope that we can see their own views as well, not only through Gaoruga's narrative. And then the girls got back to the princess's lair, the princess's kingdom, I don't know how it's called. And the princess told them now they need to gather Twinkle Imagination, because they need to feed Fua with that so that Fua can achieve her last form. Is her last form her human form? Because we saw that in the musical, maybe it's going to appear in the series itself. I don't know. But I think that the most interesting thing about that scene was Uni questioning the princesses. Why isn't Planet Rainbow back? Why do we still need to do more? Because that's how I felt as well. That was promised to her, and now they're taking it back. Strange. I do understand the way she felt about that. And so no one knows how to gather Twinkle Imagination, and I'm curious to see how the show is going to tackle that. And I really hope we have another power, not a power up, but we have another attack with the power up forms, and I hope that they fight with those powered up forms as well, not only use their attacks, because the power up forms are gorgeous. Anyways, guys, that was my view on episode 32. Please leave a comment with yours, and let's keep our talk in the comment box. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.